Today on the Nerdy Gritty, with the final details announced about the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, we talk the pros and cons of each one.
One more world disappears inside it. Just another hopeless addict. World that makes a man insane. If the drums don't get you, the guitars will.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I am Fox Series X.
And I am Des 5.
You're only 5 years old.
And I'm winning.
You're winning? Oh,
yeah.
I see what you mean. You're just a fanboy.
Hey, Fox, you know, I mean, you and I struggled with this because I don't know if we're even going to talk about this later, but stupid Walmart jumped the gun on the PS5 sales.
Oh, yeah.
Walmart was straight up open with it. They were just like, don't have to wait. Just do it now.
We're not going to make you wait. Buy a thing from us.
Right.
We're a store.
They did that on Twitter. They straight up publicly broke the street dates.
I wonder if they just said, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Like, what is Sony going to do?
Are they going to not
Are
have
they
us sell their
gonna
product?
not put a PlayStation 5 in the largest retail chain in America?
No, they're not going to do that.
Not, of course,
no.
we do what we want.
Yeah, exactly. Although in a few years, when retail stores are becoming less and less common,
they will be the holdout.
They're going to have to watch themselves.
Yeah. This year is not that year.
Well, we know that as console people, but what a lot of people may not know is that the RTX 3080 graphics card just had the exact same debacle.
Yeah.
So is this it's just RTX? Oh, NVIDIA. Yeah. The NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 graphics card just released recently,
right? And
immediately was bought up by bots. The vast majority were bought up by bots. An RTX 3080 graphics card just sold on eBay for $70,000.
Why?
$70,000.
Look, obviously that's a lot. That's a lot. What is the standard retail price? I would imagine like 700.
Well, this is
800?
9,900% more than its MSRP.
Okay, so a lot.
The problem here is that so many people were waiting for this to go up for sale, and then immediately it just came out by surprise, kind of like Sony did.
They dropped it.
But for some reason...
$700 typically.
$700. For some reason, this one... just bots immediately jumped on this, and very few of the average consumer actually got this. Not to mention, NVIDIA as a PC thing, PC people are far more like have much higher
superior in every way. Yeah,
have much higher expectations on companies' abilities to deal with bots and things like that. And so this is just this huge issue. There was I saw a video that was listing all the eBay things, and at the time I saw several for 10,000, one for 50,000, things like that. One actually sold for $70,000.
Okay. Do you think, because obviously bots, somebody makes those bots to buy them. Like it's
right.
You know, it's just an auto buy system basically. Do you think somebody like that happened and that person was like, crap, I did not program that correctly? Like, whoops. Like, I just should have put an upper limit on the, like, well, I'm boned. Like,
no,
that's
man.
too much.
I wonder, number one, that we coined this phrase last week when we said it's when you have more dollars than cents.
Yeah.
And I really liked that phrase.
We coined that phrase. I didn't take it from my dad, who used to say it all the time.
Really? I had never heard that before.
Yeah.
When you got more dollars than cents. But
then he would say, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
I say that a lot.
Okay.
But actually, a rapper.
You stole that from
first.
my dad.
A rapper said that first.
So did the rapper.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's the kind of situation. But even then, why do you need it that bad? What does it do?
Who knows?
All I know is
They're
that
hacking the mainframe.
The big thing that I've seen,
cards, I guess, for that.
There's the new Crysis Remastered, and if you guys don't know this, when Crysis first came out, it was known for taxing your PC.
Yeah, that's always
like
been
no
a Crysis
game in history.
thing.
And there's the phrase of how good is your PC? Can it run Crysis?
Can it run Crysis?
But can it run Crysis?
It's the opposite of can it run Doom.
So
everything can run Doom.
There's the Crysis Remastered, and it has can it run Crysis mode. and no graphics card has been able to run it on Can It Run Crisis
Sure.
mode until the 3080.
Until
the
and somebody
3080
who's
can
just
run it
like,
on-
I need to
I
run.
must have that.
I need to run Crisis at the terrible mode. I have to do it. Yeah. Hey, it's a sad day.
Oh no! What?
So you've probably seen that they I think it's the 3D All Stars.
Yeah, Super Mario 3D All Stars.
Which 3 classic. It's got Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. Which all 3 I think are great.
I was very interested in
like
getting
Sunshine,
it
so.
until I heard it was limited run, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna fight people
wait
for
a
this.
minute.
I don't care that much.
I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be hard to get. You're getting it. It's not really limited run. It's limited time because you can download it digitally.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
So it's got Super Mario 64 remake in it, which apparently looks great and contain the whole game except for one infamous line has been removed.
Uh-oh.
Mario no longer says farewell, Gay Bowser. When
I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, I remember that as a kid being like, what is he saying? And is he saying what I think he's saying?
It sure sounds like
Is he
it.
saying so long,
Gay
so
Bowser?
long, Gay Bowser?
What is he? Is that actually what he says?
Most people know that the actual line is likely so long, King Bowser.
Got it.
But that nobody cares. Nobody cares what the
In
real
my
line
brain,
is.
I always thought it was like him being Italian. So long.
So
Bowser.
long, Bowser.
So long, Bowser.
Okay, I can see that maybe, but it definitely sounded like so long, Gay Bowser.
No matter what they were trying to say, he did say
He said
so
that.
long, Gay Bowser.
Author's intent is meaningless, guys.
Hey, The Mandalorian season 2
2.
preview just dropped and
Came out?
It looks real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Looks like
really
they're moving
good.
into a more overarching storyline instead of kind of this
Precisely.
episodic
Yeah.
thing.
On that note, the Mandalorian rumor claims star Pedro Pascal quit midway through shooting season 2.
Really?
There is a very popular rumor going on right now, started by a YouTuber, but it has been supported by other rumor sources.
Okay.
So 100% rumors still.
100% a rumor still, but supported by multiple
rumor
sources.
sources. Yes. Is that
That's how a rumor generally works, though.
Pedro Pascal knew that there was going to be a much more overarching story and that he was going to get less screen time. So he went.
It's going to get less screen time because of that?
And so he went and said, hey, can I show my face? Like, because right now he's mostly just doing voiceovers. But
is he not actually playing the character?
Oh,
Is
no.
he-
Typically, sometimes, usually it's another guy in the armor.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was
An
always
action
on
actor.
screen. Well, I understand. I guess that's true.
A stuntman is usually in the suit.
That's fair. I mean, most of the time he wasn't doing a lot of stunts, though. Anyway.
No, for most of the time,
Huh.
it's another guy in the suit.
Okay, I understand now.
And so Pedro Pascal has said, can I take off my helmet more often in this? In which he was told the Mandalorian does not take off his helmet in season 2 at all.
Wow.
His
He
face
did take
will
it
not
off
be
in
it.
season 1.
Right, for 4 seconds or whatever. So there again, the rumor is that there's been a conflict between Pedro Pascal saying, hey, I want actual screen time.
Sure.
You know, he's getting less because it's more of an overarching story. It's going to follow different people or show different moments. And he doesn't take off his helmet even a single time in this.
Wow.
And so rumor says he quit. He was like, forget it, man. And so now they're saying that it will be even more of an overarching story because we're going to lose the Mandalorian himself halfway through. So we'll see.
Or he'll take it off. You'll see him from behind, and then he'll get horribly burned.
And it'll also affect his voice.
Yeah, exactly. And he'll just become Darth Vader.
That's how it works.
Well, no, he'll just be able to be somebody else, and it wouldn't matter.
I guess.
Well,
right.
that's all the news we've got. So let's move into what we've been up to for
sure.
the last week. Okay, well, you're looking. I've been watching a bunch of movies.
Yeah,
It's basically all I've done.
There we go.
I've been doing other stuff, but I haven't experienced it enough to really talk about it. So,
all right.
I watched 3 movies this week. I'm gonna start with I'll go in order of when I watched them.
All right.
I watched War Games on Monday.
Is that the what's his name? Fred Savage? Or
No. Dang it. It's it's Ferris Bueller.
Oh, Matthew Broderick.
Yeah,
that's
Matthew
right.
Broderick.
That's right. And
in the
it's,
movie that made him big, launched him.
And he makes it play tic-tac-toe against himself or whatever.
Okay. let me give you the plot because you're
Yeah.
not getting.
I've seen it, but it was 100
Okay.
years ago.
Sure. It came out in
literally,
90,
I was probably
93, I think.
Oh, was it? I was
Yeah.
gonna say probably
If I
7.
remember correctly.
Probably
No,
10
it was
then.
like 83.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You're right. So Matthew Broderick is a teenage like computer whiz.
Right.
And eventually actually he gets access accidentally to NORAD
yeah.
and
Oops.
accidentally starts a game, quote unquote, a war game simulation that essentially the AI is going rogue kind
Right.
of, and if they don't figure this out by a certain time, it will like cause Russia to launch nukes and like start World War III essentially and end the world. And I'll tell you, it was so good.
Yeah.
You should watch it again
I
if it's
wanna
been a
go
while
back. Yeah,
because it's the kind of premise where you're just like, oh, cheesy 80s hacker man like doing 80s cheesy hacker things. But no, it's not really that. It never really feels like he's cool tech whiz guy. He just feels like a kid who likes computers and is goofing around with them. And
Not like Hackers. Where
not
they're-
hack. Yes, it's not hackers.
That
It's
debacle
just
of a film.
a kid who likes computers and knows how to use them and accidentally does this thing. So it had a really good message and just was super fun to watch as far as like it felt nostalgic even though I wasn't even born when that movie was.
I recently watched X-Men Apocalypse.
Oh.
It was not as bad as I remember. That's what I will say.
Here's the thing. That's the Des tagline for 98% of the movies that are bad.
It wasn't as bad as I remember. In fact, when I looked up its Metascore, it had a fairly positive. It was like a 60.
It has some
Metascore or
cool
something like
stuff
that.
in it.
And the problem with it, in fact, in my thought, the only problem with it is Apocalypse is the worst thing
Is
about
the
it.
dumbest thing.
He's stupid.
He's
And
stupid. The ending is the absolute worst where it's just, well, I'll shoot him with lasers until he
Right.
dies, you know?
But there was so much nuance in the what does it mean for mutants to stand together
Sure.
versus what does it mean for mutants to take over. There was so much nuance in the father-son relationship between Quicksilver and Magneto.
Sure.
That
Is
was
this the
never
one where
even
they
said.
this is the one where they break Magneto out of the prison?
No, but Magneto's arc was fantastic. Probably the
Mm-hmm.
best part of the movie. Even Storm's arc, where she joins Apocalypse because she wants to be strong like Mystique, but then she sees that
Sure.
Mystique is fighting. Like there's just really cool character arcs for so many people, but Apocalypse is stupid, and that
Yeah.
literally ruins everything else. It takes the movie from an 8 to like a 5.5, 6 for me.
I then watched this week Hurricane Heist. Speaking of bad movies.
You can't mock me for watching Age of X-Men Apocalypse and then watch Hurricane Heist
Yeah, you're right.
after watching Sharknado or whatever just
No,
before.
Here's the
like,
thing, Sharknado I got 15 minutes into and I was like, nope, I'm done.
watched the
Hurricane
entirety
Heist.
of this.
I watched the whole thing while I was like editing videos or something. So I was like watching it peripherally. It was bad. It was real bad. It didn't make any sense. How did it get into theaters is my question. It was in theaters.
was it really?
It was.
Oh man, I always thought it was like a straight to
No,
to
shockingly in theaters.
streaming.
Let's move on because I don't want to talk
Yes.
about it anymore.
Me and my family finished Legend of Korra. Talked about that last week,
Right.
And
Now
there
you're
was
on the Dragon Prince.
yeah, I'm watching the Dragon Prince.
Dragon the Prince.
We're almost a season into it, fully a season into it, and it's real good.
Yeah.
But very high fantasy basic. Like it really is pretty simple. There's an ASL character. She's a general of the army, and she has a like right hand man that just translates for her everywhere she
Age,
goes.
sex, location.
But that's exactly
She's
what
on
it is.
AIM in early
Yes,
2000s.
No, American Sign Language, or I guess we could just say it's not. It'd be whatever Kingdom Sign Language, but
Sure.
still. And she is hardcore. She's my favorite character, and she also happens to use sign language. But she's super duper cool. But I thought that was really cool. But that's our family show right now that we're watching together. My wife and I ran out of DC shows or whatever to watch, so we picked up a show that I'm surprised that not more people are talking about, called Community. It's one that
What is this show?
I'm surprised that you've never seen this or talked to me about this.
What do you?
It's
You're joking, right? Because I've watched it like 3 or 4
it's one
times.
that man, I'm really surprised that nobody has said anything about
This is
so
little
far.
hidden gem.
Hidden gem. I think it's a Netflix original or something.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
what they picked it up
Exclusively
from. Like, I think
yeah.
it's like a foreign show or something.
whatever, something like
Canadian TV.
We were wondering things to do, and I was just like, you know what? I've heard a lot about Community. Let's watch it, and we immediately fell in love with this show.
It's extremely funny and super well written.
Here's the way that I put it: if Psych is a joyful, gleeful, like friend romp that has the beloved like happy humor of a 5th grader, you know, these two guys act like 5th graders, and they're kind of cute and adorable for it, and you love them. Community is the same way, but they're 8th graders now.
Last movie I watched this week is The Devil All the Time.
Oh, I want to see that so bad. So don't spoil it.
Netflix original. Oh, I won't. With Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson.
Let's say Tom Hardy. Very different.
Those are like some of the main characters. Tom Holland didn't show up till like 45 minutes into it, just on the based on how the timeline works. It was pretty good. It's worth watching, especially if you have Netflix. It's not like you're paying any extra to watch it. It was not amazing, but Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson are the best parts. Like Tom Holland's, he ain't Spider-Man in this one. He ain't quippy fun guy. Teenage problems. He's pretty rough. Well, the things he has to do and the situations he finds himself in are pretty rough. It is a very dark plot. There's not a lot of happiness or hope to be found.
The preview immediately reminded me of There Will Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis.
A little bit. Yeah. Definitely with that, like it takes place in like Ohio or like West Virginia, kind of moves around a little bit. Talks about religion a lot, and in a way that's, again, it's like that thing where it's like, yeah, this is a thing. This exists. This is the way people treat Christianity, and not saying it's unrealistic, because it is, unfortunately. I just, as a Christian, always want to see actual real Christians who are not perfect, but also are not evil monsters who are terrible.
Last thing I watched was a documentary on Netflix called American Gospel. You heard of this?
No.
It just popped up for me on one of my like youth pastors only Facebook page, and it was literally, the page said, "Hey, we're not going to talk about this anymore because obviously you guys get in fights about it. So no more talk about this documentary." So that got me like, okay, what
some
do we
good
got
viral
here?
marketing right there.
Yeah, no kidding. So I went and I watched it. Not only did I find it fantastic, but it is a documentary about the prosperity gospel.
Okay.
And its entire purpose,
I'm going to be watching that
yes,
very soon.
Its entire purpose is to come from a Christian perspective. It seems to be made by Christians.
Okay.
The first half hour, maybe not half hour, but 20 minutes or so of it is outlining the actual literal gospel. And it is so good.
Does it do that to say, like, here's what the Bible says,
yes.
now here's how people twist it?
Yep.
While also being like, hey guys, here's the gospel.
Yes.
Because I like that.
100, and it's exactly that. And it's wonderful. They outline it perfectly, and it's beautiful, and it's amazing. And within that, like, just that point, if it was a half-hour movie that outlined the gospel, it would be incredible. But then it eventually moves into, here's what the prosperity gospel says, and here's how it's unbiblical, and here's what these people are doing, and here's what they're saying. Hey guys, if you're not a Christian here and you're mad at people that are saying, like Creflo Dollar that wants a $65 million jet plane, and he's saying, God wants you to give me money for that, and that makes you mad, that makes Christians mad too.
Right.
We also hate that.
Yeah.
That is wrong and it is terrible. Please don't associate that with the actual Christian church.
Well, that's all I've got.
That's all I got too, man.
Okay.
All right, let's get down to the nerdy gritty.
For sure.
Hey, before we do that, we just want to let you guys know that if you're hearing this right now, that means you're listening to an edited version of our podcast, meaning the first half, everything before this, has been cut down to what can be considered a little more palatable if you're just a casual podcast listener. But if you enjoy listening to us talk about the things we've been up to, some of the news articles, stuff like that, then we recommend you head over to our Patreon page. It's patreon.com/DesandFox. And there you can become a second tier member, and that will give you access to the director's cut of the Nerdy Gritty, which usually has another 15 minutes to half an hour of content just for you to listen to what we've done. Now, again, to be clear, we never edit the second half of this. Our actual topic, the nerdy gritty itself, is never edited down. You will get the fullness of that. But if you like hearing us banter, we would really appreciate and love your support. And hey, if $5 a month is not something that you can do, there's the $1 a month, which still gives you access to all of our Patreon exclusive content. Fox says he's going to be putting a crap ton of stuff on there.
Pretty much everything. I've got a lot coming up.
He's got
lots of
up.
pre-access or early access.
So again, if you guys would like to support us, we would love it. You can head over to patreon.com/DesmondFox to do that. Or if that's just financially not a thing you can do, we understand. Please tell your friends, share it, let other people know this is going on. We'd really appreciate your support. All right, with all that being said, let's actually get down to the nerdy gritty.
So 2 days ago, as of recording this, Sony had their final, what we assume is going to be the final PlayStation 5 showcase before the actual launch of the console, and they revealed all of the details that we've been clamoring to know for a long time, including the price and when it will drop and things like that. So as of that, this is what we've been waiting for a while to have this conversation. I want to right off the bat here say either one's fine.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
It really, we'll get into this, but I don't want to have like a console war idea. That's just like, I don't like corporate loyalty.
Right.
And so to just say that PlayStation is better or Xbox is better because it's Xbox or because it's PlayStation, it's kind of like Apple versus Android. It's just companies vying for your money.
Yeah.
You're fine to have a preference. But anyway, so what we're going to do is just kind of talk about the different aspects of each one. And yes, we are going to compare them. And what I want to do with it ultimately is kind of talk about who should get each one. Which one is, if you are, what would be the appropriate one if you were this kind of video game connoisseur,
Right.
As much as we can. But anyway, let's just start with some of we're going to go through a bunch of major kind of ideas, major differences. Let's start with just the big thing, the price.
Yep.
And this is going to knowing this will affect everything else, I think. Like, okay, well, if it's that and it costs this much. So let's get into it. Let's just give out the bare bones here. Sony, the PlayStation 5, they announced that there is a PlayStation 5 and then the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition. The regular PlayStation 5 will be $499.99 or $500.
Right.
And then the Digital Edition is $100 less at $400. Whereas the Microsoft Series X, Xbox Series X, will be $499. That's the one most comparable to the regular PlayStation 5. Mm-hmm. Same price, $500.
Right.
Whereas their lesser edition, it is technologically, the hardware is lesser.
Yes.
As far as its capability,
yes.
It's smaller. And it's also a digital edition, is $299.
Yeah, $300.
So it's $100 less than the Sony equivalent.
Right. It will be a limited PC or limited system, though.
The difference between the PlayStation 5 and the digital edition is simply that it does not have a disk drive.
Right. But
hardware-wise, it's the same. Whereas there is a much bigger difference between the $499 and $299 versions of the Series X. The lesser one is called the Series S.
Right.
And I don't want to say lesser is probably not the right way. The other version.
Right.
Because if you're like me, where the hardware isn't really the selling point, then maybe it's the better choice.
Well, I mean, if it's going to be something, and we'll probably discuss this more later,
sure.
But if it's going to be something where, hey, Cyberpunk, whatever, the next one, Cyberpunk 2.
It's 2078.
Yeah, releases, and just so you guys know, it will be in a... like only 30 frames per second or a lesser version in some way. Like we've lessened the graphical fidelity or whatever else for the Series S. I think that could be an issue, particularly for the American.
That's true.
The American gamer who is way more into shooters and having the best picture possible,
right?
The best everything.
That's true.
Possible.
If you bought a Series X specifically because of the hardware and it's actually limiting the games that are coming out,
right,
to make more of a market for that game, then yeah, I could see that being a pretty big downside to getting a Series S. And so the bigger thing here in price, though, and what was kind of surprising to me and like innovative, I think,
yes,
is that Microsoft is not only selling their Series X and Series S as a one-time upfront cost. They actually are essentially leasing these systems.
Yeah.
So let me kind of parse this out. If you do not want to pay $500 upfront for a Series X, you can actually pay $35 a month for a Series X for 2 years. And with that, you get the console, of course, and with that, you get a subscription to Games Pass Ultimate or Ultimate Game Pass or whatever it's called, which has access to about 100 different games and has consistently been a quality choice.
Right.
I had it for a couple months and it wasn't enough for me to continue because I had a lot of other games to play, but it was very much worth the couple of months that I paid for it. So you can pay for that Series X and that subscription for 2 years. You are, again, locked into 2 years.
Right.
$35 a month. You can do the same thing with a Series S for $25 a month. Again, a 2-year commitment, 24 months payments. So I did the math here. Oh, a few things. Comes with Game Pass. It requires a credit check.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Not surprised.
Yeah, you're
leasing something.
It's like buying a car or
Yeah.
a house, like anything that you are going to be spending money on over time. So I did the math. The Series X, if you were to buy it outright and also get this subscription monthly, you would be paying $860. If you lease it like this, like if you lease it, you're actually saving $20.
Really?
In the long run, it is $20 less to pay it monthly and get the subscription with it, largely because the subscription is typically already $15 a month.
Right.
So with
interesting.
With the Series S, it's actually a better deal. It's $40 cheaper to lease it instead of buying it outright and also purchasing a monthly installment, plan.
That's really
So
smart.
it actually is cheaper to lease it, which I was kind of shocked by.
Yeah.
I figured just like with leasing any kind of those like home appliance leasing places, you can rent a TV that would typically cost you $600 but end up paying $5,000 for it on a monthly, things like that because of interest. There is no interest here though.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
that's the huge deal, is that you are not paying anything more than this.
Here's why I think this is a brilliant move by Microsoft.
Yeah.
Just fantastic for so many different reasons. Number one, people have to decide and have had to decide, or at least most people have had to decide for years now, if not decades now, which one console they will buy.
Right.
Because it's financially prohibitive to try and buy two of them at the exact same time, or maybe they'll buy one and a year or so later buy the other, but by that time, whatever software you have, you're used to that first one.
Yeah.
You're pretty much only buying exclusives.
The average
for that second
person
one.
likely doesn't buy both at the same time right off the bat.
Right. This allows that to happen much more simply.
100%.
If you're going to say, and again, I think Microsoft knows Sony is winning right now. That's just, if you take a look at actual literal console sales numbers.
Sure, yeah. If you want to go with sales numbers, yeah.
Yeah, Sony
easily
destroys them.
By
destroys
far.
them
Yes.
in console sales.
And has for decades.
So, yeah, exactly. Has always. Literally.
Always, since Xbox has been a thing.
Literally never Xbox has won that. So they know this. They're keenly aware of this. So their question has to be, how can we become, like Nintendo did, they have to ask themselves, how can we become the second console in your house?
Yeah.
What can we do to make sure that you'll get that PS5? We understand that. That's most likely what you're going to buy. How can we get the other one? How can we be your second? And this is a very
good answer to that question.
Absolutely.
Nintendo answer is way different games, much different atmosphere, family oriented.
Totally different console style.
Sure, way different. Way different. We're the weird one that doesn't do anything. Yeah, we do what Sony don't.
Yeah.
Nintendo do what Sony don't. That's a classic ad campaign that Nintendo.
Oh, really?
Or no, I think it was like Sony does what Nintendo don't. Anyway, it turned around on him. Yeah, no, I understand that. Like this, actually doing the math, because I was assuming, because console alone, you're paying double.
Right.
If you don't factor in the Ultimate Pass, which would be stupid not to do, because the Ultimate Pass is very great. It's a really good deal for all the games you get. I think what the problem is, and we'll get into this a little bit later, for me, is that the Ultimate Pass is what makes it worth it, because if you're just thinking about the console, you're then literally paying double. Like, to make it worth it, you have to subscribe to the Game Pass Ultimate. And while they have a very good track record of keeping lots of good games on there, you don't get to control what games those are.
Right.
And this doesn't reduce the cost of buying any games on it. You still have to buy games outright like you normally do. You don't get to rent those. And so there could be like, oh, cool, I'm actually going to get that because it has this game on the Game Pass, and a month later it's not there. And, oh, okay, I bought it for this, and now I'm locked into 2 years. Because from the Xbox website, Microsoft website, you don't get to cancel.
Right.
You can't unsubscribe from Ultimate Pass and reduce your monthly cost.
Right.
They actually have made it so that, like, returning it and all that, they basically say, well, you got 30 days or less. It depends on where you buy it. Like, they kind of wash their hands of the situation and say, cool, you gave us your money. You're going to give us our money. But you're going into a commitment. You are commitment for 2 years. And that's the problem, too, is what if I can't make that payment? Like, are you going to come repo my Xbox?
That's the problem with any leasing, though.
100%. It's
that is not exclusive to Microsoft.
And I applaud them. They are not being, in my view, predatory about it.
No, I agree.
They could very easily make this, it's cheaper right now, but in the long run, that kind of thing.
Not to mention, so now let's say, kind of like I said before, that Microsoft is now the second console in your house.
Sure.
But you have it right away. So you're going to be playing it more often than you would have if you literally didn't have it at all.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you they are going to have at least monthly, if not weekly or daily check-ins online. I'm guessing there'll be, because if you didn't pay your lease, they got to be able to stop your service somehow.
Oh, sure.
So there has to be online connection. So they're going to be able to data mine the crap out of you, the way that you play, what games you play, what games you like.
They're already doing that.
Not if you don't own a console.
I guess that's true.
And now they can say, wait, these people who have now bought it as a second console, what do they like? What do they want?
And how can we use this information for the future?
Exactly. How can we make games that will, exclusives, because they constantly fail on exclusives.
Right.
How can we make exclusives that people want? What can we do to make these people who are buying our console second buy our console first next time?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Subscribe to us next time.
There's been questions about the future of the Xbox as a system.
Right. I would not be surprised if this is their last
This might
console.
be their last system, and they just try to, like, the idea of, like, continually updating this thing where, like, our firmware is continually updated, but you'll never get another console again.
Right.
Yeah. Let's move on to another category here. We're going to save games because that's the big thing I want to talk about.
Right.
Let's move into backwards compatibility.
Yep.
Because they're both taking a little different of a tactic here. So let me give you the actual stats. Let's see. What was actually announced or talked about in somewhere, I can't remember. I have a quote here from an article. While the long-awaited console, specifically talking about the PlayStation 5, will be compatible with, quote, 99% of PS4 games via backwards compatibility, it means it won't be supporting PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 games or downloads.
Oof. Which,
my question there is, I own a couple PlayStation 2 games that I bought off the store on PlayStation 4, like PS2 on PS4 is a little category that they have a few games where I got Dark Cloud 2 and Jack and Daxter. Will I be able to play those still?
Doesn't sound like it.
I mean, it doesn't sound like it, which really sucks. Kind of. I still own a PlayStation 4 and don't plan on getting rid of it, so I can still play it. But to me, this backwards compatibility hasn't really been much of a thing for a while now. Kind of died with the PS3.
Right.
And so, I should probably get into the Xbox here. Microsoft has stated that the Series X and Series S will support all games playable on Xbox One, excluding those that require the Kinect.
Right.
So
because
games that nobody played anymore and played anyway, including those Xbox 360 and original Xbox games currently supported by the Xbox One. Thus allowing the console to support all 4 generations of the Xbox. Basically, it is an Xbox Series X and an Xbox One.
Right.
Because it can play anything that game. So that's a big deal.
That is a big deal. And again, a brilliant move by Xbox because they know they are not the main console in people's houses. So this is a chance for them to sell old software.
Continue that third party, or at least whatever. Maybe they'll do like digital versions of older games like PlayStation 4 has on their store right now. And to me, it's part of like it sounds like we know we don't have a lot of fifth gen exclusives that, not as many as PlayStation, but you can play all of the Xbox exclusives from all time now.
Yeah. Oh, did you like that?
You like Blink's the Time Sweeper?
Yeah, exactly.
Boom, we
Done.
got you. Like, it's
Did you want to play the original Halo?
Yeah.
Make it happen,
Here
man.
you go.
Here you go.
Things like that. So it's just, I love it because they are taking advantage of all the work they've done in the past.
Yeah.
It just makes sense to me to say, well, we made that game and people loved it. There's already there's a thing in the gaming community of there's a lot of games in history that literally just get forgotten because they can't be played anymore unless you have some sort of emulator. And even then, if the software is unavailable, then not. And I like that Xbox is continuing to maintain their library that they've created over the decades. So this one, I think they definitely, if we're gonna give them the victory on various things, Xbox definitely wins this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. It's so smart. Again, especially beginning with that idea that this is their way of sneaking their console into your house. I say sneaking. It's not. It's just wisdom.
Not.
They're
Right.
doing a great job. But of getting their console into your house, now this is their way of getting their software into your house.
Right.
And it's incredible. Like, again, so good.
Just
I love
more
it.
games to play.
Yeah.
Now let's move into kind of similar idea, but let's talk about the Games Pass, the Ultimate Game Pass, or whatever it's called, versus what was announced on Wednesday, the PlayStation Collection,
Right.
which is, for all intents and purposes, their answer to the Ultimate Game Pass.
Right.
The Ultimate Game Pass has roughly 100 games, actually way more than that if you on the Xbox. On PC, it's more limited, but you can. That's the thing about the Ultimate Game Pass is that it's transferable to your PC, so you can play all those games on your computer, even if you're leasing the Xbox. So it turns your computer into another Xbox in your home, which is pretty great. But anyway, so they've got a lot of games on there. That includes the gold. Like Ultimate Game Pass is like the thing that they have, and the PlayStation Collection, which was announced, is, let me get this list up. It's a collection of, they're all PlayStation 4 games. Let's see. Let me just go through the list. All of these will be available to play at launch on the PlayStation 5 if you have a PlayStation Network account. God of War, Last of Us Remastered, Uncharted 4, Battlefield 1, Monster Hunter World, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, Last Guardian, Ratchet and Clank, Infamous Second Son, Days Gone, Bloodborne, Detroit Become Human, Batman Arkham Knight, Mortal Kombat X, or 10, Persona 5, Until Dawn, and Resident Evil Biohazard.
Yep.
Or Resident Evil 7. That's a lineup right there.
Yep.
That's a lineup. Pretty much every exclusive PlayStation 4 game, or the huge major ones that everybody likes.
Yeah.
Plus a plethora, or a good selection, not plethora, it's only 15 games or whatever, but a good, I think they went with the shotgun effect. We didn't get as many, but we got a good range of different. We got Monster Hunter World on here, and Mortal Kombat X.
Yeah.
And Until Dawn, and, like, Battlefield 1's on there. So I think they said, it's not as many, but it's ones you like, and also it's all kinds of games.
To me, where a Microsoft, the Game Pass is a buffet, this is chef's choice.
Yeah.
And so where in a buffet, you go up and some things might be really delicious.
Sure.
Some things might not.
A lot of it's not.
But you have a really good choice of things there. A ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Chef's choice is, hey, everything's going to be delicious.
Right.
There's less of it, but it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the difference between these two that I see right now. Again, to me, this is, one more time, Microsoft just saying, I'm in your home now. Please play everything.
I'm inside.
It's in the house. Yeah.
The games are coming from inside
upstairs.
the house.
Yeah. But yeah, just making sure that all of their product is available to you. I really feel like this generation, Microsoft's goal isn't to win, it's to get you used to having Microsoft stuff.
I think they're also trying to basically separate themselves, because forever it's been, here's Nintendo, and then over here is PlayStation and Xbox. Like,
right.
They're lumped together, and I think they're trying to break apart a little bit and try to have three separate.
This is console as a service.
That's essentially what it is. You're right.
This is console as a service, and everybody's willing to do almost anything as a service right now.
That's fair, yeah.
And so it's their way of saying, I want to be a part of what's going on right now. They're being more modern, legitimately. And this is something I was going to save to the end, but I'll bring it up now. Is I feel like Sony's been riding their high horse for a very long time, and right now, Microsoft's ready to get on a bicycle and outride that horse, or a motorcycle and outride that horse, because they got a faster horse. I feel like they've been horse racing for a while, and Sony's been just beating the crap out of them. Microsoft is kind of like Nintendo, changing the way they're doing
just doing
things.
something different.
Yeah, something different entirely.
They're with the Ultimate Game Pass subscription, they're kind of also riding that line between mobile, because you can then put that on your laptop and play those games and stream those games using their streaming service, meaning your laptop doesn't have to be a beast.
Right.
You can then stream those games somewhere else that your Xbox isn't. Just like it's less convenient than a Switch, but it still does kind of make a mobile version of your Xbox, because you can play all those games on the Game Pass.
Yeah.
Let's get into what I consider. I haven't.
Well, hang on.
Sorry. You got more?
One more thing to
Okay.
say about the PlayStation's part, though.
Please.
PlayStation's is a very good response, though.
Yeah.
Because to me, this is PlayStation's way of saying, sure, Microsoft's got all that stuff. Here's what we have to offer.
Hey,
though.
you like God of War, right? Of course you do. Here you go.
Yeah, it's there. Like if you were just to play some random games on Game Pass, or some random games on the PlayStation, what is it called, PlayStation Selection or whatever,
PlayStation
Collection, you were going to get better product.
PlayStation Plus Collection.
PlayStation Plus Collection. You're gonna get, as much as art can be objectively better games.
Sure.
From the
Popular
PlayStation.
games.
Yeah, more popular.
Very popular.
More widely acclaimed games.
Well reviewed.
Yeah, and that's their way of saying, you're not going to run out of content. We have so much stuff here, and all of it is so good.
Sure.
So I think it's a very, very good response, without actually trying to compete. Try and say, here's all of our stuff too.
It's something a little different.
Yeah. It's just saying, here's the best.
Plus, it isn't anything more like, if you have a PlayStation Network, your PSN account, you got this. Like, you're not paying anything extra.
Yeah.
Which is true for the Game Pass as well. With gold, like, it's not really adding anything extra, but it's just another bonus. So let's move on to, we haven't really planned to talk about hardware, because I don't know enough about hardware to say, well, that's clearly the better one. The numbers are different. Teraflops are a thing. I'm not sure exactly what they mean. I also don't really care about if your hardware has more teraflops or not.
I will say this. There are people that do.
Sure.
But for the most part, if you are a casual to casual plus, even stepping into hardcore gamer, you're not going to tell the difference. You will never know the difference in that's performance between the two systems.
Yeah.
But if you're a Twitch gamer, then the Xbox Series X outweighs
It does. Hardware wise,
PlayStation.
It's better.
But hey, if you're a Twitch gamer, go PC. Like,
right. That's that. At the end of the day, if that's what you really need, is the best machine to play the greatest games at if you need to play Crysis,
pay $70,000 and
buy a 3080 and put it on your PC. Yeah, so like neither of these are the best then.
Right. And that's kind of where I think Microsoft's fault is right now, is they still want so bad to be the best console, even though Nintendo has shown for a couple years now, or a couple console cycles now, with the Wii and now with the Switch, you don't need to have the best specs
to sell the best.
Yeah,
because Nintendo has also destroyed Xbox.
Yes, like the best specs don't matter. It's your software, man.
Right. So let's get into that. The software.
Yep.
This to me is always going to be the most important selling
really
point
is.
of
And
anything.
With all the hailing of Microsoft that I've done recently, this is where I feel like they're going to stumble.
Xbox has impressed me.
Oh, okay.
In the past, if I were to be a fanboy of either one, I would be Sony.
Right.
Mainly because I've played their games more and liked a lot of the games on there. I've played Halo. Whatever. I just enjoyed PlayStation ones. It's never been a conscious choice for me to say Xbox is bad, PlayStation is better. That's just kind of how it's turned out in my life, the systems I've owned and the games I've played. But some of the things, like how they're selling the Xbox, I'm considering getting an Xbox. I would get the, Series S.
Right.
Because it's cheaper, but especially knowing that I'm not actually going to be paying more. I'm actually going to be paying less than what I would.
Yeah.
I might do it still.
Really, really much so. Oh, okay. When I'm done recording, okay. Probably between 3:30 and 4. Okay. All right.
So let's get into announced games, exclusive games, first party games for both systems. And again, for us, both of us, I think this is really what sells it.
Yep.
Is the games you have that I want to play. So let's get into the Xbox first. As far as exclusive and first party Xbox games, these I'm looking at Eurogamer.net for both very similar articles on both. They kind of break them into different
categories.
This is exclusive first party games. Usually first party games are going to be exclusive anyway. But they've got Halo Infinite. These are what's been announced. Halo Infinite, Fable, which that piqued my interest. I played the Fable games and liked them. State of Decay 3. I think that's like a survival game.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Yeah.
Forza Motorsport. Sure. Everwild. Not sure what that is. Couldn't tell you. Avowed. Can't remember that.
Avowed. Everwild was a kind of like a. I can't remember. Dang it. I'm getting confused with other games.
This is again. If I don't remember what it is, it's not a detriment to the game. That's just me like not being able to memorize all the games.
Right. We probably should have been more prepared with this. But
sure. Then there's As Dusk Falls. Like we've talked about a lot of these games in previous videos on our YouTube channel. And some of these, I don't remember seeing Avowed and being like, huh, interesting.
So Everwild was the one, remember when there was like the glowing deer and it looked real fantasy and there were like the monks and there was that glowing deer that showed up?
Sure.
That was Everwild and it looked very good.
Okay.
I was very interested in that. And what was the other one that we said we didn't know?
Everwild.
No, that was literally what I just said.
Avowed.
I think that was a high fantasy, like very
first party role playing game set in the Pillars of Eternity universe.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And it's like knights and sorcerers and things like that. Looks like
Yeah. And then there's As Dusk Falls. Oh, Psychonauts 2. So that's a big one. There's The Medium, which is a horror game.
That's Xbox exclusive, is it really?
Apparently, yes.
Nice. Okay.
Xbox. Here's the thing. Also, all of these are also coming to PC.
And so that's,
as far as I can tell, none of these are actually Xbox exclusive.
That's the biggest detriment for getting this for me, where if I can pay, $15 a month and play all of these games on my PC.
You might be able to. They're not necessarily going to be included with the Game Pass.
Oh, I guess. Well,
Game Pass doesn't have every game.
I've heard them say all of these will also be available on Game Pass.
Sure.
Yeah. And so when they had the very first games announcements, they did that, including
I don't see that on here, but
to me the most important was Hellblade 2. They said it was going to be available on Game Pass.
Yeah,
as
and
well.
that's fair. Yeah, and then there's Hellblade, of course, Senua's Saga.
Right.
Scorn, which was that Geiger looking
the weird one. Yeah.
Then there's other those are the major ones. There's third party games that are going to be on both. We don't need to get into all of those.
Right.
Then let's get into the PlayStation 5 exclusives. Obviously, new God of War that was just announced. Apparently coming next year,
2021.
Which is huge.
Yeah. Which, in truth, I don't believe that. I would
it
bet
probably
it will come
is going
2022.
to be delayed. Yes. Yeah. It did. The first one came out in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a pretty quick cycle for such a massive game.
Yeah.
Horizon Forbidden West. Miles Morales, Spider-Man Miles Morales coming at launch.
Although Miles Morales and Horizon will both be available on PS4 as well.
Sure, yeah. You're right. But as far as the console family.
Right, between the two of them, yeah.
Gran Turismo 7, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Demon's Souls, the remake. There's a game called Returnal, which is a sci-fi game. I always remember this being
great.
Like, wow, a middle-aged woman as a main character
in a
sci-fi
really
game.
Cool,
I was like,
though.
what? You don't see that. And then there's the Sackboy Adventure game, Astra's Playroom, Destruction All-Stars.
Destruction All-Stars is one that I think is going to pull a lot of junior hires.
It might. Yeah. And then there are exclusive third-party games. Final Fantasy 16.
That's ridiculous,
massive.
Man.
Deathloop, which you are super pumped
I am
for, and also
pumped for
not saying
Deathloop,
it looks fun. Ghostwire Tokyo, new horror game coming out. Godfall, which I believe is a Souls-like.
Right, no, but there is a new, what's it? Elden Ring. That's the new.
You're right. That's the new. Well, that one hasn't.
FromSoft
hasn't. There's been no details.
Right,
about that,
right.
And then there's Project Athia, which is just a little teaser that was shown. But then there's a bunch of other like things that were announced to be on the PS5, but haven't been confirmed to be on either. So anyway, I mean, this is the most subjective, I think, of the things, because a lot of the rest were like based on how much money can you pay. And this is just like, what games look interesting to you? If you love Halo, then Halo Infinite is a big deal. Like, hopefully,
except for
right now,
yeah, it seemed like such a big disappointment, and it got delayed. To me, this is the one that is the most lopsided to me, because in almost every aspect, Sony has better, like more popular games and a more diverse variety of games.
Sure.
Where you can have, a Ratchet and Clank, but you can.
I'm very excited for.
But then
cool.
God of War 2.
Kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum as far as tone goes.
Exactly. Like totally different games. Both are going to be very good, very quality, but one can be, Dad of War, this, 37-year-old man.
Ragnarok.
Yeah, this 37-year-old man is going to cry because it's a dad and father-son thing. But on the other side, it's going to be the one that I can play with my son, Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute,
no,
you're going
to
play
God of War. No.
That'll be an interesting, okay.
Whereas, sure, Microsoft's got some really cool looking stuff come out. I'm not going to lie. Everwild looks really, really unique and interesting.
I haven't played Senua, even the first one. I'd like to.
I can just lend it to you.
I'll
have
get the
it.
Game Pass.
Yeah,
that's fair. You do have it.
Yeah,
I should play it.
It's so good, and I'm going to cry in that as well. But
sure.
They don't really have the variety there. It's a lot of like grimdark or serious battle type games.
To be fair, they both have their big racing game. You got Forza and you got Gran Turismo.
Right, but those two will always be there. Those are staples.
Sure.
So that's why it's Forza, 5 and Gran Turismo 7 or whatever it is.
It's Forza. I think it's actually the 8th Forza game.
And that's kind of, it's like Madden to me.
Oh yeah.
You're going to get the new one
Except it takes
regularly.
several years.
Yeah. And they're both going to look incredible. I guess maybe more like flight simulators, where they're pretty simple as far as what they're meant to do. They're meant to just be very realistic racing games.
I want to play Microsoft Flight Simulator. Again, it's on the Game Pass, though,
I want to play it with the 3080.
You're just put inside an actual airplane. Just crashes into your house, and now you're in it. Here's what I think the biggest one here is: Demon's Souls.
Yes.
All the rest are continually PlayStation exclusives.
Right.
Like God of War is a PlayStation exclusive series, always has been. Ratchet and Clank, Horizon, the Spider-Man games, they are like the new Spider-Man games. Demon's Souls, was that a PlayStation 3 exclusive?
Yeah.
Was it? Okay, so that makes sense. But since then, the From Software games, except for Bloodborne, have not been.
Only 2 of them.
The Dark Souls trilogy plus Sekiro. Was Sekiro an exclusive also?
No, Sekiro was not exclusive. So I thought Dark Souls 1 and 2 were exclusive, were they not?
I don't think so.
Okay, never mind then.
Let me confirm that, but I would be shocked if it was. I'm pretty sure the Dark Souls trilogy, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Nintendo,
there you go.
Even Nintendo Switch now.
Okay.
So since all the From Software games, I guess since Demon's Souls, you've just got Bloodborne. That's an exclusive.
Right.
So that one was kind of shocking. It was like when back when Final Fantasy 13 was announced to be non-exclusive. I was like, whoa, that's a big change. And now that they're going back to exclusive, it's another big change for Final Fantasy 16. But I think Demon's Souls is kind of the game changer for a lot of people. Because the actual Souls, like, you have a lot of Souls likes, but the actual Souls From Software lineup, that's a console seller for a lot of people, I think.
Yes.
Even more so than maybe God of War or Ratchet and Clank or Horizon.
Yeah.
Because there's the Souls genre has such a rabid fan base that are so exacting and so like into the games that I think that one's an actual console seller more than the bigger name, like the first party exclusives like God of War.
And just a little bit of gameplay they showed was so clean.
It would look beautiful.
So good.
I was actually watching it and I was like, that looks amazing. And then I remembered, like, I kind of think that every time they show next gen, and it always does look better, but to me, again, this is a hardware thing where it's like we're reaching that point where it's
It's going to look incredible.
There's literally...
It's going to look incredible.
It's always going to look incredible, and there's literally a point where it is either photorealistic or it's like there is a maximum amount of like good it can be if what you're going for is actual resolution and actual like realism.
Yeah.
So that's less important to me than something more stylized than like Ratchet and Clank, because that's more fun and interesting and doesn't have to be photorealistic to be really great.
Yeah.
So anyway, so is there anything else that you find that you think is like pretty big to talk about? Because those are the main topics. I guess let's just talk about conclusion here. I mean, we both have already pre-ordered a PlayStation 5. We're obviously on one side rather than the others. But like I said before, I am definitely not against an Xbox Series S.
Right. Not to mention the fact that a kid going to mom and saying, will you buy me $500
100%
system, or mom, can we pay $35 a month?
Right.
Absolutely, that's available.
Kid listening to this, come to them armed with math that says it's actually cheaper if we do it this way.
Yeah, 100%. And it's a great opportunity for lower income families to be able to do something like this. Maybe you can't drop $500 at once, but hey, you can like etch out $30 a month or whatever else it is. And so it's one of those situations where I applaud Microsoft for everything they're doing here. They really are, because to me, this is the first time they're straight up admitting we're not winning.
They're changing their tactics.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
We're not winning
So
this.
yeah, that's super fair. I think the biggest detriment to all of that, though, is, well, the Game Pass can play on PC. So
yeah, that's a shot in the foot for them.
Yeah. It has less games, but it still has a lot of good ones.
It's a shot in the foot for them if consoles are their goal.
Yes.
I don't think they will be. I think the purpose of
they're
this...
moving into a...
I think the purpose of this console as service, the purpose of the Series S, and the purpose of the Game Pass being on PC as well, is for them to move to expecting 7 years from now, because console generations are usually on a 7-year cycle.
Ish, yeah. It's a little longer for the fourth, but yeah.
Expecting this 7 years from now for streaming games to be much, much more common.
Yeah.
And for them to be like, hey, we've already prepared for this.
They might be ahead of the curve a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People already have their
nobody cares about
Stadia.
Stadia. So
Nobody cares about Stadia. Yeah. But people already have their ahead of the game, like their console as service. People are used to having Microsoft as service. Mm-hmm. They're going to keep using Microsoft as service now. Meanwhile, Sony, they probably won't be clamoring, but they're going to be behind the game at that point.
Sure. Although they might be at that point, we are the console maker.
Yeah.
Like, just like Nintendo, we are the fun family game kind of weird console that is different from everything else. PlayStation will have that new niche. And plus, they have a much more global market that they can use.
Yes, they do.
So they're ahead of the game. Plus, I think subjective, but have a much better lineup of first-party stories.
They kind of always had, yeah.
So that's a huge thing, because your hardware can be great and easy to access and cheaper even. But if I don't want to play anything on it, then I'm not going to buy it. So,
but I guess my final thought would be that this generation is every console has its own niche
more than ever
before, and I don't think there is going to be a winner per se. I think that all three are entirely viable options.
Sure.
And I love it.
I mean, you're going to have... I would be shocked if PlayStation didn't continue to outsell.
Right. It's going to outsell. But as far as quality product and quality games and things that they're doing, I'm stoked to see Microsoft's indie stuff that they have.
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, they're not technically indie anymore, but small studio stuff that they're going to put out. It's going to be real cool. So, yeah. Well, guys, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for all of your support. Hey, we want to know what you guys think about our thoughts on all of this, and also your thoughts to each one of these things. What do you think about software, hardware, pricing, all of this stuff that's going to be going on with these two new consoles? And hey, let us know which one you're getting. Thanks to Granger.
So we can judge you.
So we can judge you hugely. They're getting the Stadia.
You casual.
Thanks to Granger for the use of our theme song.
Or seam thong.
I
don't want a seam thong.
Thank you, Granger, for that thong you gave us.
No, thank you, Granger.
I don't know why you gave it to us.
Why did you send this to us?
It's weird now. Anyway, thanks to Granger for the use of our theme song. All my friends have Wi-Fi, and some of my neighbors do too. Off of the album Dear Sam. It's a really good track. Go check out all their stuff.
Hey, and also hit up our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/DesmondFoxPlay. We've got a lot of content up there. Currently, our playthrough through Spiritfarer which is a great game, and also just really great storytelling in there. It's playing right now, I suppose.
It's going every day.
As well as
hopefully there might be a small break because we had to take a break due to smoke.
Yeah, we
issues.
live in near Portland, Oregon, and actually nearer to the fires than to Portland.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of smoke lately.
Portland was named the most toxic air quality on the planet this week.
We're number one.
We're right there. Yep.
My playthrough of Ghosts of Tsushima is going on right now. Right after that, my playthrough of Assassin's Creed Origins and then Odyssey will be playing. I've got a lot of stuff that I'm adding to our Patreon, our early access Patreon, months and months early, actually. At a certain point, Stardew Valley is up there right now, my first season. So we've got a lot of stuff on there, so go check it out. There's probably something there for you.
Thanks again, guys, for listening, and always remember that save games, save lives.
So long, Gabe Hauser.